All right. Good morning, everyone in person. Technically, it's good afternoon. It's good noon, exactly. And good afternoon to those that are online via Zoom. I'm Megan Williams with ABC and excited to welcome everybody to this first time Lunch and Learn. This Lunch and Learn came about from our safety committee. We have a lot of great conversations about accountability and safety and ensuring that you have a positive safety culture and how do we get people active and compliant with those types of topics that are so important in our jobs and day-to-day lives, whether that be while we're on the job site or with our families or really anytime. There's a lot of disconnect between what we know we should be doing and what we're actually doing. So a lot of that comes down to some key principles that our speaker is going to talk about today. He's going to start off with some foundational things that he's a big believer and promoter in. This speaker has done several presentations for ABC and is just, I think he's going to resonate with a lot of you. I think you're going to really enjoy what he has to say. So I just encourage you guys to keep an open mind, take notes if you want. We will be recording this on Zoom, so I will try to have that available to you later. If you are on Zoom at any time you cannot hear, please let me know. It's the fun of the hybrid event here and the technology we're working with. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jon Harrison. He is with the Jon Harrison Group now, formerly VIP. But he's going to kind of dive in, tell a little bit more about himself, their principles, and really take it from there. So again, thank you guys for being here, and thanks for our red, white, and blue sponsors for the lunch for us, those of us that are in person. So
awesome. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. How many of you have heard me speak before? Not many, just about. So I'm going to do a little refresher for some of you and for all of you that have never heard me speak. So two things right off the bat. I'm not a safety expert, and you're going like, well, then why the heck are we here? So I worked at Caterpillar for 25 years. So I was around safety my entire life, but I wasn't a safety professional. I was a plant manager, ended up being an executive there, all that kind of stuff, which doesn't matter nowadays. But I've lived it. I've been in that world. Not an expert, just so you know. I'm not an expert on leadership or culture either. You go, then why do you help companies? Because this is all coming from the real world perspective. And most of you have been through some trainings in your life that you could tell in about 2 seconds the person had never lived it. They were consultants. They did it from an academic perspective. I don't claim to be a guru on anything, like I just said. And if anybody refers to them as a guru, I would run from them, by the way, if they're self-proclaimed experts. So I made a bunch of mistakes in supervision over the years, even as an executive. So everything I teach, when we do leadership training, even this little discussion today, a short discussion, it's all coming from that real world perspective, and you'll get it. You'll know any story I tell, you'll completely understand. Now, I normally kind of move around a lot. Megan told me to stay here, so I'm sorry, that side of the room, but I usually like to walk, so just have to look this way. So to get started, because we are going to talk certainly about safety today and some tactical areas here in a minute. But so I was at CAT 25 years. Again, I'll tell you the story quickly. But now I do, we've got a little team, Melissa Dunn's in the back of the room from our team. We have 3 full-time employees, that's all. And we do help organizations look at their culture, everything from safety to communication, accountability. But we are not, quote, consultants that come into a company and go, well, Thompson Electric, if you want your culture to be great, you have to hire us. And we have to be there all the time and bill you a bunch of time, because it's never going to work if you have an outside person trying to make your culture better. I promise you it won't work. There's a lot of groups that will tell you that, but it doesn't work. You have to make it great. We just try to get people thinking differently, for example, and we do train leaders. We train hourly employees, staff employees, all from the real world perspective. But let's start here just for a second. So the VIP way, we'll explain VIP here in a minute, but let's talk about these 2 little silly taglines that are on the screen right now. Positive work environment driving excellent results. Now, I told you I wasn't a guru or I wasn't an expert, but I know, I'm so smart. I know what results you want at your company. I just bet. And let's start with safety. I bet you don't want any of your employees getting hurt. Is that right? Wow, I am so smart. 0 injuries is your goal, I bet. Okay. Now, let me throw this out. I just got back from Virginia with clients. I live here in Little Rock, but I was in Virginia a couple weeks ago, the manufacturing company, Trex, the decking company. And I walked into the training was at their factory. I walked in, there was a big banner up. I was there a month ago, 6 weeks ago probably, and it said 2 days since our last recordable injury, because they had that banner. I went about 2 weeks ago and it said 3 days since our last recordable injury. So they have obviously had a few injuries in the time that I was there. So a lot of companies hang banners up like that and have t-shirts that say 0 injuries and all that stuff. I get it. Let me ask you this. What percentage of employees at your company do you want stressed or burned out? How many? 0. Are there any employees at your organizations that are stressed or burned out? And if you hung that banner up, it would never get past 1. You go 1 day since does stress and burnout cause health issues, relationship issues, parenting issues, financial issues? So when I talk safety, by the way, I'm not going to just talk about physical safety. Of course, we don't want somebody to lose a finger or have a fatality on the job site. Caterpillar, 100,000 people around the world, we had fatalities at times. Nobody wants that. But we forget about that other piece of it. And if people are overworked, a million things all due on the same date, they are stressed and they're dealing with stress in unhealthy ways when they go home. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. So 0 injuries. I bet you don't want to make any errors. Is that correct? You'd like to make 0 errors in your business. Well, told you I was smart. You want to get all of your stuff done on time, 100% on time. In my world, 100% on time delivery. If it's an electric project, we want that done on the date we told the customer. Is that true? And you want to make a bunch of money, those of you that are. Okay, so guess what? That's been every business's goal since the beginning of time. And most businesses don't come close to hitting their goals on a regular basis, including safety. So we're going to talk about things at a higher level than just safety tactics at first, because I promise you, you could have the best safety program in the world. You don't get your culture right, it's not going to work. I'm just being honest with you. I don't BS people when I chat about this stuff. So excellent results, of course. You want excellent results. Positive work environment. And again, a few of you heard me say this. When I say positive work environment, some of you are thinking, oh, no, we should leave right now, because he's going to talk about like having beanbag chairs in the office and really cool coffee machines. And let's just have fun at work. We should have fun at work. You should treat people with respect, of course. But when I say positive work environment, I'm talking about holding people accountable big time. You won't have a positive work environment if you have 2 groups of people that are kind of ruling the day, so to speak. Do you have people that have you ever worked with people who were kind, nice people who weren't getting their job done on time? Quality of their work wasn't great, timeliness, but they were nice folks. Have you ever had people at work who are good technically at their job, get stuff done on time, great quality work, but were a pain in the butt to hang out with for 50 hours a week? Do you have people that are good at both? They behave right and perform right. I hope so. I hope everyone in this room is one of those people. If you have people that behave well and perform well, do they get tired of those other 2 groups of people? Big time. So you can put the best safety program in the world. If you are allowing people to be on either end of those spectrums and not live it out, you're in trouble. I'm just telling you. And you go, but we're desperate. We're desperate for people. So we keep lowering the bar. Please don't do that. I know it sounds like the right thing to do. Let's just bring anybody in here who's breathing. So we're going to talk about that, because, by the way, if you were shopping around nursing homes for your parents, aging parents or grandparents, and when you go to the nursing home, by the way, I would ask them this, which will blow them away. What's your hiring strategy here at this nursing home? They won't be ready for that question. But what if they went, warm bodies? We just want warm bodies in this nursing home. Would any of you let your parents stay there? You would go, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, back in the car. We are not letting you be in this nursing home if that's how they're hiring people. But I'm going to get real with you, because people are doing that today. And your customers wouldn't want you to have warm bodies. I promise you, if they knew. I used to tell our people all the time, pretend there's a customer attached to your belt all day long. Customer or potential customer. And if they went, so how does Baldwin and Shell, what's your hiring strategy here? We'll take anybody that's got a pulse. They're like, I'm not going to use you guys. They wouldn't use any of you. So I want to just hit that real quick, because you can get all the tactical stuff you want. If that's not right, you're going to be in trouble. I promise you. VIP, what's that? When I was at Caterpillar, I wanted people driven by values: honesty, teamwork, integrity. You know the words. Most companies have them somewhere on a t-shirt or on the wall. Most companies don't live them out. They hang them on the wall and they go, hey, let's all be a team. You go, yep. And you walk away and you go, those idiots in engineering, those idiots in the office, those idiots in this location. Does that ever happen at your place? And if your customer heard, well, you go, what? Who's an idiot? Oh, that other crew that's working down the street. Those guys are idiots. And they'd go, will that crew ever do some work for me? Well, potentially. We say teamwork, but we badmouth other parts of the company all the time because I know it's happened because I did it. So companies, we say we want people to live by values, but safety is all about values. It's about dedication and commitment, helping each other, teamwork. But you know there's people in your workplace that probably don't like each other. That's fine. They don't have to be best friends. But if they dislike each other and there's not a cohesive unit, sometimes that can turn into an extreme where I want my peer to fail. Man, I hope that guy screws up because I don't like him. Or he's trying to take my job. Customers would go, what? Like, you don't like him enough that you want him to fail in this company. So values, and let me just throw this example out because you know what I'm talking about. When I started off at CAT a long time ago, before I was managing factories for them, I was in the office for a brief period of time. My computer mouse broke. I was 22, 23. We had a sign on the wall because a lot of companies like signs on the wall. And the sign said trust. I remember it like yesterday. My mouse broke. I went to my boss. I knew where they kept the mice. And I said, my mouse is broken. Can I please get a new mouse? He went, are you sure it's broken? And I was a respectful employee, so I didn't say this. I want to go, yeah, I know how a mouse works and it's not working. But he went, can I try it? So then he was like for 10 minutes. He goes, this thing's not working. I went, yes, I know. I said, can I please get a new mouse? He went, no, you have to fill out this 2-page form. This form I had to fill out, I promise you, was the same form we had to fill out if we had $1 million machine complex in the factory that went down. I filled out this 2-sided. I went, can I go get a mouse? And I said, no, my boss has to approve it too. What did the sign on the wall say? Did I feel trusted in that situation? Nope. Took me 9 days to get a mouse. I brought one from home the next day because I knew it was going to take me 9 days. So my point is, you might have some words on t-shirts or whatever, and people are watching every single thing like that, and safety is one of them. So I want people driven by values. I wanted people driven by information, mean they have to be trained. We're throwing warm bodies into places and not even training them. And yet we wonder why they're not awesome and all that. We're not holding them to high expectations. I wanted people driven by passion. I wanted their heart beating for Caterpillar. And you want your people's hearts beating for what you do, because it's really important what you all do. Really important. So that's the V and the I and the P when I say VIP way. We got to get employees like that. Well, warm bodies, that doesn't work. Doesn't work. You know the company. I'm just doing this quickly because some of you have heard it, but I went around the world for CAT, started in Peoria, Illinois, started in the financial area, like I said. I was undeserving, humbled, and blessed my whole 25 years. I wasn't trying to be an executive. I wasn't trying to take on more people. I never in my brain thought I should be an executive and make lots of money. Never. They started sending me to facilities in the United States and around the world that were struggling because it was always culture. It was not technological stuff. It was not the flow of the factory. It wasn't PPE. It was always culture. So again, I'm humbled by that. I didn't deserve those jobs. I went from smaller facilities to bigger facilities. In Japan, I had 10,000 people reporting to me. Ridiculous. I barely left my hometown in Indiana. Now I'm living in Tokyo. I have 10,000 people working for me. And always, no matter where I was in the US or the world, it was about culture. And then I got sent back to the United States in 2009, right down the street, to open up a Caterpillar plant off Faulkner Lake Road. You've seen it. Most of you probably have driven by it. That was the biggest plant CAT had done since the 1940s. And I was humbled and blessed by that. And the plan was for me to take all this manufacturing / culture stuff that I had learned, do a startup. I had never done a startup. That was the startup. And then after that, the plan was, I believe, for another promotion and for me to be responsible for that for all of Caterpillar, this 100,000 person company. But it didn't happen because in April of 2011, I quit CAT. I love cat with all my heart. When I see cat equipment, my heart still beats fast. I have yellow blood big time. So why did I quit? And I'm just going to cut to the chase and be honest with all of you. I quit because I'm a faith-based person, and I thought for sure the Lord was telling me to go do something different and to help people in a different way. And the workplace is a big part of that. And so I left all my executive stuff behind, left my stock options behind, left my big pension behind. I'm not bragging about that. I'm telling you, I'm very passionate about this stuff. And we spend most of our time at work, and most people do not love their time at work. And when they don't love their time at work, they're going to get hurt. They're going to get stressed. It's going to affect marriages and kids and all of that. And we don't talk about it enough. So I talk about it. Gallup does a survey every year. They'll say this is the US numbers from 21, and then we're going to get into some more tactical stuff here in a second. Some of you saw this last time we were together. 34% engaged is what Gallup says. 1/3 of people are engaged at work. I hope you have some of these people. You know what they look like, generally, how they act. They're not perfect. They don't have all perfect days at work. They're open to change. They don't badmouth other departments all day long. They have a positive attitude generally, right? They are curious. They care about your customers. They care about other employees. Do you wish you had more of these people? And you need more of them because you have these people. All of you have these people at work. Gallup calls them disengaged. I call them toes on the line people because you know this. I don't know how they do it. They come to work in any business and they find an invisible line. They put their toes right on the line. And what do they do? They put their toes on the line and do what? Just they don't step over the line. They don't get in fist fights. They don't drink on the job. They don't steal copper. They don't do anything like that that gets you fired because they're smarter than that. Matter of fact, some of you are hoping they do stupid stuff. Please steal something. You don't say, please steal some copper pipe because then we can fire you. They're going, oh, no, I'm much smarter than that. I've had some people go, yeah, we hope she retires. I go, how old is she? 52. I go, she's not retiring. At least for 10 years, maybe 20. What do you mean wait? You're waiting for them to quit, retire, or do something stupid. Good luck. Because they'll go, no, I'm going to stay for spite. I love irritating you by staying here. And none of you want your kid's teacher, the person that built your house, the person that made lunch today, grooming your pets, or taking care of your grandma in the nursing home to be that toes on the line person. You go, oh, no. I only want these people around my family, John. That's correct. Well, that's a problem. Because some of you want awesome people around your kids or your parents or your truck, but you might be the yellow people at work. These people look like the dang emoji. They look like that. Actively disengaged, says Gallup. That's a fancy term. How do you know these people are actively disengaged at work? They look like that, so they don't have to even tell you anything. They look like that, and they go, this place sucks, and everything sucks. I hate this place. This machinery sucks. These tools suck. Our customers suck. What? So they either show you or they tell you. And it's this in one slide. This is a incredible tragedy in our life. So does this affect the U.S. economy? Hundreds of trillions of dollars. I don't care if you're Team Republican, Team Democrat, Team Independent, or Team Libertarian. They're not talking about it ever. You know, if the Fed moves interest rates tomorrow by 0.25%, the stock market's going to go crazy. Is this more important than interest rates? 1,000,000 times more important than interest rates. If that 34% could become 42, and you had money in the stock market, you'd be a millionaire. No one is even talking about it. It's ridiculous. It affects big companies, small companies, big towns, small cities, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Every way you would identify a human being is impacted by this. And it affects babies because the 66% go home at night after 40, 50, or 60 hours. I talk about passion. That was one of the VIP, right? P. Passion like water in this bottle. Let's say you came to work yesterday, Monday, on a high note. You had a bunch of passion in your bottle yesterday morning. What might happen this week that will cause passion to leak out of your bottle? Give me some examples. Somebody gets hurt. What else? Productivity's down. How about 110 degrees? Yes. Machinery breakdown, traffic, last minute customer changes, that never happens in your life. Supply chain issues, that hasn't happened the last few years. What if you have stuff going on at home? Your parents are dying, you just had an argument with your spouse. There is amazing downward pressure on your passion. By the way, disengaged negative people are doing that all day long. You might be the most positive, awesome boss there is, but if you're letting an hourly person bump into people all day long and suck water out of all their bottles, then A, you're not getting as much done at work as you're allowing that to happen. And now they're going home with empty bottles. And when they go home with empty bottles, guess what happens? Abuse, drinking, drugs, isolation, depression, detachment, divorce, adultery, you name it. Stuff is going down because this is where they spend the biggest part of their life, and you should care deeply more than just their physical safety. I'm not going to avoid the safety discussion. I'm going, we better broaden it big time. This is a crisis. Look at in the world. This is Gallup's latest numbers. I just showed you 34% engaged in the United States. We're the best in the world, and we suck. Like, we're the best. You go, John, I don't know if I believe surveys because they can be wrong. You bet they can be wrong. Let's say they missed it by 20 percentage points. So it's not 34% engaged in the US. That's ridiculous. It's 54. That still sucks. They didn't miss it by 20 points. It's ridiculous. And it's everywhere in the world. And no one's talking about it. So I don't claim that our little company can fix it, but we're going to die trying. So Melissa left a very, very nice job in another organization. She was a client of ours. She came on board on this mission because we got to talk about it. This is a huge deal. It's affecting your bottom line, and it's affecting people's families and their babies. That makes sense. Two-way street. Your bosses have a big role in this, safety-wise and others, but so do the people that work for you. And every time I went around the world to a factory that was struggling at Caterpillar, I used to go out and work on the shop floor all the time. Guess what they would tell me on the shop floor? The first 2 weeks, I'd go, why are we struggling here? What did the hourly people tell me? Why are we struggling? Who is the problem? Management. You know what my team that I inherited, my direct report team told me the problem was? Hourly folks. They all need to be better. Everybody's got to be better if you want an awesome culture at work. It's not just HR's job. It's not just your owner's job. So when we train leaders, we talk about 9 expectations by the V and the I and the P. Champion values, champion operational excellence. We do have to hit our numbers. We got to make sound decisions all day. We got to hold people accountable. We have to communicate with people for leaders. We have to know people. They're different. Doesn't mean the standards change. You have biological children and biological siblings that are dramatically different from you, I bet. So your crews at work are going to be crazy different. So you got to know them. You go, no, I just want to say my way or the highway. Good luck. Doesn't work. Doesn't work in your house. Because it didn't work in our house. I was one of 7 kids, and my mom and dad would say, this is the rule, and 2 of our 7 didn't seem to follow the rules. Same freaking DNA. So people are different. You got to know that. You got to develop people, train them, cross-train them, and you got to keep passion in their bottles. I saw leaders at Caterpillar, not only did they not keep water in people's bottles, they were the #1 reason there wasn't any water left. Brittany's already having a bad day. And then I go, you stupid blankety blankety blank. And she went, thanks, I got none left now. It's going right now. It's close. And now she's going home to people, and now they're feeling it. Health, wellness, and safety. You go, why is that last? It's not last. They're all equally important. But there is some foundational stuff that comes before safety, in my opinion. Is that a reasonable list for what supervisors and managers should do? We never tell people stuff like this. We go, we have a supervisor job. It's a $10,000 raise and you get a truck. Interested? Guess what people will say? Yes. More money and a truck? Yeah, sign me up. I go, no, we should do that. People could go, I don't want to do that. Then you're in the wrong job. Let me give you an example. If I was an 18-year-old right out of high school and I came to your company and there was a fork truck somewhere, can I jump on that fork truck and start tooling around? Why not? Not trained. My dad had one. I know how to use it. You're still going to make me train? I'm only moving the pallets from there to there. You're going to make me take a training course. Ridiculous. No, it's not ridiculous. Of course you have to do that. How about, can I be a supervisor? Yep. Now what? You are one. Good luck. Why don't you want an untrained person on a fork truck? What can happen? All kinds of stuff. Injuries, death, property damage. You go, no, there is a lot of risk if you put a person on a fork truck that doesn't know how to use one. How about if you pick the wrong person to be a supervisor? Any risk? But we never talk about. Hourly people, same expectations. I train on both these. They're worded a little differently. Let's take health, wellness, and safety. This says champion it. Your companies have to champion health, wellness, and safety, which means what? Provides PPE, train, do all that stuff. Caterpillar, we had to wear safety glasses 24/7, every factory in the world. But what if the employees wear their safety glasses like this? That's them. They're not owning it. Two-way street. So if you're letting anybody not do the right thing, even for 5 minutes, you're killing your safety culture. You go, I know, but we were in a hurry. Like I set my glasses down and I'm getting ready to go home for the night. And you go, hey, can you help us load this truck real quick? And I go, sure. I go, oh, wait a minute, forgot my glasses. You go, hey, we're just loading a truck. I'm sure that never happens. People watch. They go, okay, so it's not being consistently put out there. So now a couple boxes under here, high expectations. You better establish those. I just showed you what I think they should be, similar to that. You don't have to use us, do it yourself. You better have a robust hiring process that gets you people to live up to high expectations, not warm bodies. You better train people on what all those expectations are, and you better hold people accountable. You need to be held accountable, your boss needs to be held accountable, etc. Let's hit a couple of them before we get into the safety one. Champion organizational values. So this chart, very simple. Your company should have a set of behaviors that is very clear that everyone understands and is being lived out consistently, and you better measure people's results. You want stars working for you. I know you do. High on both. They behave right and perform right. You told me about that. You want nobody in that box. Here's your nice folks, behaving well, not getting the job done. Quality of work isn't where it needs to be, timeliness, whatever. And then here's your technically great people. Man, that person's quite the electrician. He can wire a building, but he's a jerk all day. But most companies turn their heads to the bottom right people for sure. Why? In the short term, they get the job done. If CFOs, financial people could add up the impact of these people, it would be a lot different than what you think. Do your stars get tired of those two people? You said yes. What will your stars do at some point if they're hanging out with people like that for 40 or 50 hours a week? They'll either leave. Your best people will go, I'm not doing this. I don't care what you pay me. Because you know what? I have no water left in my bottle every night, and it's not worth it. You go, we'll give you more money. They'll go, no, it's affecting my family and my health. I'm not doing it. They'll leave, or they become these people. Because they go, oh, I see what my company values. Just being nice. I'll be nice. I can do that. I don't have to get my job done on time. Or I see what they value. They don't really care about how I behave. They tell me they care about how I behave, but not really, because they let me stay here for 20 years. So all they care about is I'm a good electrician. I get stuff wired correctly and done, so I can behave however I want. I would do nothing in today's job market to piss off your best people. So we shouldn't even be talking about safety, to be honest, because we got to do a bunch of other stuff first, but let's keep rolling. Now you put some words on this. So hopefully some of your companies have these words, but they better be lived out consistently, because people know in 2 seconds if they're not being lived out consistently. They see it. This used to drive me crazy at CAT. People see everything. Let's see, we have a big wig coming to the factory. We better clean it up because the owner's coming by. I hated that. It should always be clean. I go, oh, that light bulb's up. We don't want the owner to see that when he comes visits this. Let's get that fixed before tomorrow. And this poor gentleman has been sitting under that burnt out light bulb for 8 weeks and not one person fixed it. Does that ever happen? Do people talk about that? They go, you want to know what happened? I turned in a maintenance request 8 weeks ago to get that dang light bulb. No one did it, but the owner's coming by for 0.2 seconds and we're going to change it. All this stuff people notice. And that's not just your supervisors, that's you guys too. So there's the signs. I told you a lot of companies like signs. They're cute. A lot of times there's geese flying in formation on signs because that's cool. There's lots of cool nature pictures on signs or military things. Respect. You go, are you a respectful employee? I sure am. I don't cuss and scream at people. Okay, great. Are you ever late? Yeah. Is it disrespectful to be late? Because other people have to pick up the slack. You go, I don't care. They don't say anything about it. Okay, that's a problem. We're quick at picking when other people, we want other people to be respectful to us. You're seeing it all over our society. That person was disrespectful to me. Okay, but then they turn right around, they're disrespectful to other people. So the signs are fine, but you better do more than that. They better guide every decision, demonstrate it from the top down, etc. You better establish behaviors and make it clear what they mean. Let's talk about the numbers side for a minute. So you can see, I'm doing these very quickly, of course. Scoreboards. I think you should have a scoreboard in your business. People like to win. People don't go to the red-white Razorback game with the same intensity than when the Razorbacks play LSU. Is that correct? Because I want to beat LSU. I want to know, are we winning? So injuries, employee satisfaction, customer feedback, whatever. Set a goal. How are we doing in the month of August? How are we doing January through August? As you might guess, red is bad, green is good. Don't have time to get into all of it. People need to know if you're winning. It should be very simple for people. I see businesses, I'll go visit them. They have no measurements anywhere. Or I go like to factories and they go, let us show you our measurement wall. And there's 5,000 spreadsheets on the wall and no one paying attention to it. It's ridiculous. I have 3 girls. When they were like 11, 8, and 5, I would tell our teams, my girls should walk out in the shop floor and go, Dad, what the heck? What's going on with delivery and safety here? Because red's bad. Like, we can figure this out. But you know what I want from this is your employees going, I'll tell you why we're missing deadlines. Because of blah, 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 or we don't have enough of this, or I have to walk 50 feet over there to do that every day. And I'll tell you what's going on with our safety. By the way, I'm not going to ask you this because I don't want to embarrass you. Every employee here should know exactly how many recordable injuries you've had in your business, your company. I go visit companies that go, safety is our number one thing. I go, how many recordable injuries have you had this year? Is it 8? Someone goes, 8? It's 28. No, that was last year. I'm like, oh my God. You should know, because it's not numbers, they are human beings. Every employee should know. Because you tell me it's the most important thing in your life, but I don't know if I believe that a lot of times. So it's not just about good behavior. Caterpillar, by the way, wouldn't let me run large facilities if it was just about being nice. Caterpillar was a very results-oriented company. So now you take the chart and you go, what are we measuring people? This is the same for every employee at your companies. This is different if I'm in the office or I'm an electrician. The results are different. This is the same. Don't have time to talk about that in detail. So let's hit this one. It's under passion. You know why? Because people won't have any water left in their bottle if they're worried about getting hurt, dying, or they're stressed or burned out all the time. Your role, of course, is to model and drive safe and healthy behavior. So don't wear your safety glasses on your head. If the parking lot in your place says drive 5 miles an hour, don't drive 35. People are watching everything you do as leaders, by the way. And I've had leaders tell me, yeah, I don't like that part. I don't like that people watch me. I'm like, you're in the wrong job, dude. That'd be like those of you who have kids and go, I don't like that my kids watch me. Because that's really annoying. Then you don't have children, please. Because what do you tell them? Don't text and drive. Don't ever text and drive. Is it possible your kids have seen you text and drive? So are you really telling them, don't text and drive until you're such an accomplished driver like me? That's what I actually meant. Yes. And that's not what we tell kids. They watch everything you do. You saw your parents do things. You knew in 2 seconds if they did something different than what they told you. So you're probably allowing some people not to be held accountable. They're not doing the right things. Behavior-wise, safety-wise, yet you're looking for a trick. What's the safety trick? There's no trick. Make it clear what the safety expectations are, hold people accountable, and at some point you may have to fire them if they keep not doing it. Like maybe once, if it's going to cause somebody to die. But you go, well, we should do that, but we need warm body. I'd rather you turn down business than have that stuff going on. So we want a trick. By the way, let me just throw this out. I'm not talking about genetic diseases and things that get passed down and complicated health issues. In general, maintaining our health. What do we need to do as human beings? What about the 4 things we need to do if we want to be healthy? Eat well, sleep, exercise, and probably not smoke and drink water. There are 5 zillion books on how to be healthy, and 5 zillion diets, and 5 zillion podcasts, and 5 zillion websites. And you know what we keep waiting for? The trick. Some of you are old enough will remember this. Do you remember the SoloFlex machine? Some of you remember this. Some young people don't know what I'm talking about. But there's still infomercials about exercise equipment. And when I was about 22, the SoloFlex was the one. And of course, they would show these commercials, and there would be very buff guys and very buff women. And they go, I just do this 10 minutes a day. And I was like, you know what? I've got 10 minutes a day. I want to be buff. So I'm going to buy this thing. And 10 minutes a day, I'm going to look like these dudes in the commercial. And about 6 months later, we were hanging our Christmas lights on this thing in the basement. Because we keep wanting a trick. There's not tricks in business. High expectations, hold people accountable. Model those safe and healthy behaviors. Wellness. In our family, we use this little thing about what about wellness? Because wellness affects family life, all that. I'm not saying you should use this. We use this in our house. I thought we should call it the F word chart, but my wife didn't like that word, that title. Now, faith's part of our life. It may not be part of your life, so fine. I'm not telling you to make this part of your life. In our life, we think all of these things are hand in hand. Let's say your people are working 70-hour weeks. Does that help their finance? Time and a half, everything after 40? Do other things pay the price? You have a sick child, sick parent, dying parent, and you put your focus there. Will other things pay the price? So I'm going to show you some examples of where wellness, you might think these are safety things, but I think it's causing family stuff. Obviously, crummy chair, lifting, driving too long, whatever. You go, John, that can cause a recordable injury. It could. But you know what's much more likely? The person that sits in a crappy chair all day, when they go home at night and their kids go, hey, can we throw the football around? Can we kick the soccer ball around? Why don't we just watch a movie? Now, that's not a terrible thing, but it's not an injury, but it's affecting them. So all this stuff is more than just recordable injuries. People that are sitting in that office or that office. I'm not talking about the plants. I'm not talking about nice furniture. I'm talking about the lighting. People that are sitting in the left side will not likely go blind. They're not going to be a recordable lost time injury for blindness. But if they strain all day, does that affect when they go home? Companies should think about all this stuff. Nutrition, sleep. If they're working 70 hours a week all the time, at some point, their sleep's going to be compromised for sure. If you offer food to your employees, it's their choice. But if you have vending machines or you do company things, I would make sure there's some healthy options for people. Because some people are trying to lose weight or watch their A1C or all that. You go, I don't care about that. That's their choice. I would care about it because that's part of their health. It's their choice. The McGeorge family, by the way, McGeorge family, part of you guys now, I think. McGeorge family owns Pine Bluff Sand and Gravel. They own Granite Mountain Quarries. They own Cranford Construction. They're a client of mine, have been for a long time. The McGeorge family, by the way, if you want to hear a company that does safety incredibly well, that's your role model, in my opinion. They've totally changed their safety culture in 10 years. It's foremost of everything they do. They do better than CAT on that stuff. But they do dredging on the Mississippi River, for example. Huge vessels that clear out the channels of the Mississippi. They have a galley on that ship, that vessel. People are on that vessel 2 weeks on, 1 week off, 2 weeks on, 1 week off. I was on the vessel with Brian McGeorge, the owner, doing some training on the vessels that went down the Mississippi River. That was cool. And we were in the galley, and one of the hourly people came in for lunch and went, hey, fried food again. And Brian went, is it always fried food? He went, pretty much. So now, guess what? They still have some fried chicken, but they have chicken breasts. They have a salad area. We have a little company in Cabot that we work with. It's an IT company, 15 people, all under the age of 30. And the owner had a little break room like across the hall here, stocked with soda all day long for those people. And they were, as you might guess, 20-some-year-olds, pounding Mountain Dew all day long. And the owner went, I'm not going to do that. Because you can do that when you're 20 to some extent. It'll catch up with you. So he went, he gives them more free stuff now. All kinds of free stuff, but not that. So companies need to think about this stuff. Proactive versus reactive. You know, I assume your organizations, obviously, you're all going to do an investigation if there's an injury, because there's this bad group called OSHA that comes after you. Hopefully you do an investigation when there's a near miss. But the best companies in the world, I think, don't wait for a near miss. So I'm an hourly person. I see a hazard in the parking lot, like a big pothole or a blind spot where trucks come around the corner, or I'm in the office and I see 15 things plugged into the same outlet. To me, the best safety organizations have a very clear, robust process. If I see a hazard, what do I do with it? Hopefully you're doing that. But I'll ask companies, I go, what do I do if I see a hazard? They go, tell your supervisor. Then what might happen? Nothing. Not purposely. They're not ripping up the idea. But I go, hey, could you write that down for me? And I put it in my pants and then I do my laundry and the idea is gone. I would show people every month, every week, here's the list of all the hazards we've received in the last week or month. Here's how quickly they were closed. And because first of all, people need to know, did my idea actually get looked at? Is it already closed or is it in process or whatever? That's culture. Because you know what happens if it gets thrown in the laundry? It's not that the supervisor purposely doesn't care about safety at the company, but guess what your folks are saying out by the pickup trucks? You believe that? I turned in an idea. I saw a hazard. It's been 2 weeks and there's still, nothing's been done. They don't care about people around here. When they say they don't care about people around here, you know where else they're saying that? At church, at their family reunion, and everywhere they go. So I would have a robust process that says, what are the hazards identified? What's been done about it? Just an idea. By the way, we're not going to fix safety in 45 minutes. So if you want to chat more about this, Melissa's got stuff we can chat about it. One-off phone calls, by the way, I just want you to know about us. We don't charge you for any of that stuff. You had a one-off question about something, I'm not sending you a bill. Because I hated when consultants did stuff like that. You had a one-off chat about something, Melissa's been in, again, HR most of her life. We can answer stuff like that. We're not going to charge you for stuff like that. Here's another way we don't think about being proactive. Talking to your people about what's on their list. You go, well, if they have a problem, they can come to me. Most employees will not come. Why will employees not come to you and say, I got... What's that? Okay. Thanks. I'll never do that again. Don't wait for people to come to you. Who engaged, disengaged, actively disengaged? Who are you likely to overburden every time you engage people? And guess what? At some point, especially nowadays, they go, I quit because I can go get a $10,000 raise like that. Culture matters more than it ever has. So talk to your people and go, what's on your list? I can't tell you how many times I went to my boss and I would say, hey, I'm just checking. I wasn't stressed or burned out. I just said, I'm checking that this is the right things I should be working on. And at least twice in my life, I remember my boss going, oh, did we not tell you? I go, not tell me what? We stopped doing that. Did we not tell you that we weren't going to do that project? I went, oh my gosh. I've been spending 10 hours a week on that for like 3 months. Slipped my mind. By the way, I tell companies this all the time. Leaders don't come to work in the morning and go, how can we piss off our people? I know. Let's stop doing something and not tell them. They go, that would be awesome. That will really irritate them. I know. Let's give them 20 things I'll do on October 1st. Yes, that will frustrate them. That's not happening. But you don't even realize what you're doing to your people sometimes. And they've got lists, to-do lists. Some of them are very tenacious about their to-do list, and they're thinking about their to-do list all night at home and not spending time with their children, mentally or physically, and you don't even know it. So I would talk to people about what's on your list. Because you know they might have 20 things to October 1st, which is not going to happen. So at least you can go, let's focus on these 3. And you know what that'll do? Put a bunch of water back in their bottle. You don't even know half the time. So talk with them. What's on your list? Any frustrations, any stresses, anything? By the way, they go, yeah, my mom's dying. Let's talk about that a little bit. I don't want to talk about stuff like that. You don't have to be a therapist. But if you don't care about your people, Forget about them having water in their bottle. So I would get employee input on this stuff, like we just talked about, a robust process to solicit their ideas. Safety, let me give you an example, just a couple things. At the plant here in Little Rock, I don't know if they still do it, I've been gone 10 years. We had a wall when you walked in, just an idea, and we had people bring in family pictures. And we said, this is why I'm safe all day long. Just little remembrances. I'm safe because I've got these people I have to go home to, but I also don't want them to be stressed or burned out. In our 3-day leadership sessions we do a whole module on being burned out. How many of you have been burned out at work at some point in your life? Raise your hand. Yeah, that's what I thought. And leadership, no one talks about it. But you'll quit. One way to get rid of your burnout is quit. Because you go, nothing on my to-do list. I'm not making any money, but for right now, it feels good. Happens in relationships. This is difficult. I'll leave. Well, that felt good for a little bit. That can cause all kinds of problems down the road. So making it personal, people, why is safety important? Put their families involved. That's just an idea. There's little things like that you can do that it becomes a personal thing. But ultimately, you can't be chasing them around all day. But if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, you actually have to have very difficult conversations with them right away. It should happen once if they didn't wear their safety glasses or their vest, or they walked in the wrong area or something, and then it's it. Because they're gonna damage something, them or other people. You know, when the tornado happened in Little Rock, we were here when that happened. We were doing a session in this room, and on that Monday, all kinds of companies did tornado preparedness, blah, blah, blah. It's totally a God thing that no one was killed in that thing. But people they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. People that are out in the field, if there's a tornado, you got to talk about this stuff. If we're out in the field and a tornado's coming, what do? I've had companies go, I get in my truck and hightail it, wherever. Some people go, I'd find the closest Dollar General because it's a fortress of a little building. Some people go, I get in a ditch. You got to talk about this stuff. You go, I'd love to, but we're busy. We don't have time. You better talk about stuff. You better talk about all this stuff. And again, if we're skimping on training, right, it's another problem. We think we want to get return on investment and train people immediately. How many of you have been in the military? What branch? Thank you for that. How long was your basic training roughly? Why didn't they do it in 8 days? They could have. What happens if you do it in 8 days? People die. Yes. You go, well, yes, if my son joins the military, they better train them well. Chick-fil-A trains their people for 10 days. Burger King for 10 minutes. And you see the difference. You go, we don't have time. Okay. Then you're not going to have a great culture, I'm just telling you. And safety is just one little part of that. You better talk about what your behaviors you expect, all of that. I know it's counterintuitive that you should lower the bar, but the last thing I'll tell you, and I'll take some questions, because again, I can't, in 45 minutes, I can't tell you all the tactical tricks. But I think if you get your culture right, then the safety stuff is just one little piece of that. So I might have said this when we were together, some of you. Sears, out of business. Montgomery Ward's, out of business. JCPenney, life support. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't put your money in Sears stock or JCPenney stock. I'm just telling you. Sears by far was the biggest retailer in this country, off the charts. They had all the money they needed. They had warehouses, trucks, people, and all the stuff that Amazon sells. Sears is dead. You know why? Culture. Not hardware. Not hardware, software, blah, blah, blah. Culture. Of course, not open to change. Young people, like these dudes right here, they come to older people like me at Sears and go, I think we should put this catalog online. I went, cute. No, we're not doing that. You go, but I'm just telling you, there's this Amazon. I go, guys, Amazon sells books. We're Sears. Just shut up and go back to work. I think that happened at Sears. I think older people like me told a group of people like this at Sears, we got to change everything we do in this company. We got to put this catalog online. We're going to change everything we do at Sears. You all with me? And you went, yes, we're with you. And then as soon as I left the room, people went, I'm not with them. I'm 5 years from retirement. Why would I be with them? I'm done. If you're done, leave, please. That's happening all over. We're done. I'm done. Well, then leave. If you're done, don't stay. So young people, I'm not with them. That sounds stupid. I'm not going to follow authority. I'm not, man, all of your businesses are probably doing pretty well right now, I bet. But don't think for 1 second it's going to go well forever. You've got to be proactive. You've got to hire differently, raise the bar, talk about safety all the time, talk about wellness. And it just takes one person that you're turning your head to that's causing your safety culture to be a mess. Because it just takes one person to show that you're not serious about it. As soon as you go, well, I know, but we have to get stuff done. I'm not talking about being mean and firing people on one incident, but it shouldn't be more than one. So I'm just being honest with you. I don't think there's tricks. It's like you've heard the term lean manufacturing, probably. Some companies do lean manufacturing, very trendy. Six Sigma, you've heard stuff like that. All that stuff is fine. It's garbage unless you have the right culture. Because there's lots of new machinery and new technology and all this stuff, and it doesn't last. Okay, questions, comments, anything? And we'll stick around a little bit if you want to chat one-on-one. But any comments, questions? Anything online? Okay. I'm not trying to be mean. I care so much about this that I left my executive life behind. I just want to be real with you. Don't look for tricks. Just like with your health, we got to get back to fundamentals. And I promise you, Chick-fil-A, for example, has high standards. They're not perfect. People have fun at Chick-fil-A. You know why? Because they don't have to put up with a bunch of BS. Stars on my chart. Stars want to work with stars. You want to be the company that people in the building trades want to come work for. And you know what would be great if Kinko said, yeah, we're going to be that company. And Thompson said, well, good luck. We're going to be that company. Because you know what would happen? Then the whole state of Arkansas benefits. But we got to hold people to standards. As soon as you lower it, you're in big trouble. And I promise you, every place I went around the world was struggling big time. I didn't make it all happen. Thousands of people in the factories made it happen. I'm one person. But it had to start from me, and every leader had to follow it. And if you don't do it that way, good luck. And I knew in the back, I got whispered in my ear from Caterpillar, that plant in Australia that makes off-highway mining trucks that are $3 million a piece, we're 8 weeks late on all those. And if you don't fix that, basically, we're closing the plant. Like, I was told that many times. Now, I couldn't share that with everybody. But everybody had to be different. And I think we're in a society right now, unfortunately, where we don't want to take any accountability. We're pretty quick at pointing at other people that aren't doing things the right way. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you don't take what I'm telling you the wrong way. Like, this is your chance. Culture matters. Raise the bar. Train people differently. And I promise you, you will get more stars. Chick-fil-A, by the way, is not ever saying, we haven't heard a Chick-fil-A owner say once, man, you can't find any good people out there. Taco Bell's saying that. Chick-fil-A's not worried at all. Be a place where you're not worried about it. Go fine. We get great. But if you're facing it with money or tricks or little cute things, never going to work. I just don't think. Okay, we'll stick around. Thank you all very much for hanging out. Appreciate it.